Could the president of Columbia, the country, not the university, be next on Trump's list? Let's discuss. I'm Dave Ehrenberg, former state attorney for Palm Beach County, a.k.a. the Florida lawman, here on Substack. Thanks for your support. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And please support my work by upgrading to be a paid subscriber. I appreciate it. And let's talk about the latest report of perhaps the next leader of a country to be taken out by the Trump administration. That is the president of Colombia. Now, we saw that Maduro was taken out of the country, and number two, Delcy Rodriguez was made the leader of the country of Venezuela. And the Trump administration, the CIA, have been working with Delcy Rodriguez, and so far Trump says she's doing a great job. But the next one to fall is supposed to be Cuba. That's been a longtime dream of the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. But now there's a report in the New York Times that the next person to fall could be the president of Colombia. And the reason is that, according to reports, this has been someone who gets under Trump's skin. Now, they're perhaps going to use the same justification as Maduro, ties to drug traffickers. And this will shake things up because already it seems like we may be overstretched in different hemispheres to now go after another leader in our backyard. This is surprising because, according to the New York Times, the investigations, which have not been previously reported, were being conducted by the U.S. Attorney's offices in Manhattan and Brooklyn, and they have involved prosecutors who focus on international narcotics trafficking, as well as agents from the Drug Enforcement Administration and Homeland Security investigations, the People said. That is the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, who has had a very volatile relationship with Trump. They've been exploring Mr. Petro's possible meetings with drug traffickers and whether his presidential campaign solicited donations from traffickers, said the people who spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss active investigations. Now, investigations are in the early stages, so we don't know if it's going to result in criminal charges, and I would think that if that happens and then they did a military operation to take out the president of Colombia, it would happen after the Iran mission is over, because I don't know how you got Venezuela, Cuba is in the crosshairs, you've got Iran. I don't know how you can also take out Colombia. And also remember, in Venezuela, Maduro stole an election. He was there against the will of the people. In Colombia, you've got a leader who was elected. Now, without the types of election fraud that occurred in Venezuela, and he's up for a re-election in May. So you're talking about influencing a presidential election. Now, the interesting thing is that he's not going to be on the ballot, Petro. Petro is the current president, but he's limited to one term under Colombian rules. He's asked his supporters to rally behind a hand-picked successor, and Trump may want to have a say in that. Mr. Petro, according to the New York Times, has consistently denied having links to drug trafficking, touting his government's success in curbing the cultivation of coca, the base product for cocaine, and his orders to the military to target armed trafficking groups. He was once part of an urban guerrilla group and has initiated peace talks with armed groups, some of which also have roots as leftist guerrillas that ultimately failed. For the first year of Trump's second administration, relations between the White House and Mr. Petro were openly hostile, as the two presidents lobbed personal insults at each other online. Last January, Mr. Petro blocked American military flights carrying deported Colombians from landing in his country, backing down only after Mr. Trump threatened Colombia with steep tariffs. Lately, though, the relations, between the two leaders and between our country and Colombia have been on more solid footing. So I think some of this may be hanging over Petro's head to try to have him to play ball, or else this thing can move forward. Because, as you know, when it comes to the justice system, Trump openly says that it works for him. He gets to make those decisions. And so that's why you would probably see a military action occur if Petro decides to get sideways again with Trump, or vice versa. According to the New York Times, On January 7th, Mr. Petro and Mr. Trump held their first telephone call, brokered by Columbia's ambassador to Washington and the Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, who was eager to forestall further U.S. military involvement in South America. Afterward, Mr. Trump called it a great honor, while Mr. Petro characterized it as historic. Mr. Petro visited the White House the following month, and more unexpected friendliness followed. It sort of seems like Mandami, doesn't it? It's interesting when Trump sees someone in person, whether it's Mandami or Bill Maher, Joe Scarborough, it just seems like everyone's friends. It's very different than how he is when the person leaves and Trump gets on social media. But Mr. Petro will leave office later this year. In the past, the United States has typically waited until heads of state were out of office to unseal charges and seek their extradition, as it did with Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former president of Honduras. Mr. Honduras was extradited on drug-related charges just weeks after he left office in 2022. He was tried, convicted, and sentenced to 45 years in prison. But as we all know, Mr. Trump pardoned him late last year. We'll keep following this here on Substack. I'm Dave Ehrenberg, a.k.a. the Florida Lawman. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, share with a friend, leave a comment below. Also, please consider upgrading your subscription. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you next time.